Hello YouTube and hello beginner to Population 1. Welcome to the best game you'll ever play in virtual reality, alright? This video is a walkthrough guide for players who are new to the game. Like in your first few weeks of your game, you don't really know what to do. You put on the headset, you might have done a couple things, you just don't know what you're supposed to do, how to get started, and how to get on your journey to increasing your skills or improving your skills to become a really good player at this game. Because when you become good at this game, it's such an rewarding experience. Imagine playing your Call of Duty game, but now you're in it. You're Ready Player One style. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do it, but first let's get right to it. The first thing we got to do is go to our settings, press your menu button, and we're going to go to locomotion. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is make sure all my settings here are the same. All right, turn off the comfort vignette. That's horrible. It makes it, there's like a little circle where you can see and makes everything else black. It makes me more dizzy doing that. Turn that off. Turn your dominant hand, whatever that is for you. Turn head relative. That's the best. Just trust me. It'll make it so that wherever you're moving while holding the joystick, when you move forward, will be based upon where you see versus where your hands are. So that if you're flying, you can actually look in different directions without. It works. Trust me. Turning style. Turn it to smooth turn if you stand up and you're playing like me, where you can actually turn around physically in your space. Turn it to snap turn if you're seated, and I would recommend turning the degrees as hard as you can so that when you press your right joystick, it'll snap you around as quick as possible. This is a really fast-paced game, so you really need to fight in the close range efficiently and effectively, so make sure you have it on highest degrees if you're playing with snap turn. Some people still play on snap turn if they're standing, if they're just not comfortable with turning around physically. It's faster at getting you turned around if you don't physically move around, in my opinion. Now on smooth turn, make sure it's on analog control. Keep the degrees as high as you can because we want to turn as quick as we can. All right. Now we're getting to the height. You can adjust your height here if you're playing seated, playing standing, or you just need to readjust your height. Set it here. You have your weapon settings. Now this is very, very important. Copy mine and trust me. So the motion dampening, you set this to 100%, and then you set the offhand influence to 0%. This will make it, the offhand influence will make it so that you can aim with one hand and shoot with one hand without your left hand adjusting how the aim goes. So if your left hand moves when you're gripping the gun, it moves the aim, but if you turn off the offhand influence, it's just your right hand, so you can climb with your left hand and just focus on firing with your right. Super important. Get used to it now before before later. Motion dampening now. Have this at 100. That'll make it so that it'll be less jittery when you're moving your gun around the aim. It'll make it easier to aim. Copy these settings. This is the most used settings in this game by veterans. So now we got your settings done, right? The first thing we're going to do is, you don't even want to jump into a game, okay? So it might say like classic squads here. Don't do that. Don't jump into a real game, all right? First, get used to your weapons, all of them, honestly. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the game explorer here, right? You saw me click on that, change game. You have many game modes now to play with. None of this existed when I first started playing 2 years ago, okay? Now, you're going to go to Training Park. You're going to click on that. And this is where you're going to start your first day, honestly, in this game. It's really fun and therapeutic shooting these weapons. The physics on these weapons are really good. It feels good. So welcome to the shooting range. You have bananas right here, sodas. This is how you consume health or keep yourself alive when you take damage. You have to know how to peel this really fast, and that's not as easy as it looks. I've been playing this for a long time. I'm one of the best players in the world. You have to learn how to eat this thing fast if you want to survive all your fights, all right? And I have a video on just how to do that, okay? That's too long for this video, all right? So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to come over here to the shooting range. You have a grenade. This is really amazing weapon because everyone stands behind cover, like hard cover, like that wall up there. So you can lob this over, do great damage. Same thing with the rocket launcher. It does splash damage. All right, very cool. 2 exploding weapons. Now you have your arsenal weapons, shotgun, sniper, pistols, AR, assault rifles, and SMGs, all right? I'm not going to go into all of these weapons because that's just too long to go over. And you can watch my meta weapon videos on what weapons are currently the best in this game at this moment. Because this video, that's just too long to go over. but you're going to want to be familiar with all the meta weapons, all the best weapons in the game. You don't have, I'm assuming, 5 hours to play this game like I do every day. Okay, that's exaggerating. 3 hours per day to play this game. Okay? So you want to spend your time training efficiently, because this is like real life. You have to train like you're training to shoot a real gun. And I don't know if you've done that, but usually you don't become familiar with a gun until you shot 6,000 rounds like in real life. So here, you've got to do the same thing, all right? So you pick up a gun, literally just practice firing it on the targets and get comfortable with reloading it and firing it really quickly, okay? Like this gun is one of the hardest to use, but it is currently and always has been the best weapon in the game. But if you can and not, it's going to take you like a year to be able to shoot it like I just did right there. Okay, spend all your time training with the weapons so that your aim is amazing. Okay, because aim is so important in this game. You can die so fast. You can't stand in the open because you only have 200 health, and I can blast someone all the way down range pretty easy, right? With one hand. Notice I'm shooting with one hand. You can do the same thing. Watch my masterclass video. The masterclass video will teach you how to master your aim on the targets, alright? Alright, we finished the shooting range, right? We introduced you to it. Watch all my masterclass videos where I spend a lot of time training and showing you how to train for each of those weapons. Now in this game, just know that, again, I keep saying this because this meta is really kind of crappy right now. You can die in less than a second in the close range. Literally, you can die in half a second. And anywhere long range, you can die within 1 second if you're fighting a really, really good player. So that means that what you not do, you do not stand in the open right here. Okay, you never stand in the open. Like, you don't ground walk. We call this ground walk. When I walk on the ground across the street, I'll get shot by everyone from a mile away and I'll die. Okay, so what should you do? You always stay the hard cover. Make sure it's safe. Stay in a building, right? But your build is so important in this game. Having build. Now to build, you switch out to, from a weapon, you switch out, you press your weapon switch button, which is going to be on this controller on your Oculus Quest 2. Swap in some build, right? Now, build is so important, but it's not perfect. Build breaks so fast in this current meta that you can die really fast behind it by certain guns, all right? And so know that it's really important to have build, because if you are, for example, crossing the street in open, you have no build, you can pretty much for certain you can pretty much certainly know that you are going to die if someone's looking at you, okay? But if you have build and you're walking across the street and you're spamming build, you are a lot more likely to live crossing the street, okay? Like a lot more likely. And know that if one person's shooting you at mid to long distance and you're spamming the build button, like you just don't stop pressing it, you can live with one person shooting at you, unless you're using like a gun that's really good at breaking build, like a submachine gun or an M60 right now at this moment, right? So know that if you just come out and you're spamming your build button, that's the safe thing to do. All right, really safe thing. Now it's really important to know how to like build here, because build is all like how good of a player you are will depend on how efficient you use your build. You can't just spam a lot of it, because usually you don't have that much of it. So you have to be very careful with how you use it and when you use it. Use it to prevent taking damage, like before you even get shot, versus taking the damage and then putting it up is honestly better. But you can think of build as like extra help because it'll absorb bullets, right? We have to know how to use build, because for me to teach you how to move, you have to build, all right? So how to climb, all right? You have your grip buttons on your Oculus Quest 2, or if you have a Valve Index, it's pressure sensitive like me. You always want to climb one-handed if you can, because you can shoot with your right hand while you are climbing, right? So I grab with my left grip button. I'm going to do like a T-Rex style throw. I'm going to keep my kind of elbow in. You can kind of see right here, right? And I'm going to do like a little circle. I throw down and I come back up and grab. Slow down, come back up and grab. And you're going to do that a lot. Block so that you can fight while you are moving. All right? I can reload, right, while fighting and climbing, okay? So climb with one hand again. We'll walk through this very carefully. Grab, throw, grab until you stop moving, right? I'm trying to mimic the Quest 2 movement, but it's a little different on the Valve Index for me. All right, so in right here again. Now to do it fast, you literally have to physically go faster, right? And this is a very physical game. Your shoulders, if you play this game for hours like the pros do every day, your shoulders can hurt, especially if you're older like me. All right, so know that to throw, you literally climb fast and do the same motion. That was pretty much as fast as you can do with one hand, okay? See how vigorous that is? This is a very vigorous game if you're playing it at the high level, right? Because the pros always move fast. They're always climbing and they're always flying, because when you ground walk like this, you're actually a lot slower than when you're flying, okay? Look how fast that is, right? Flying is faster, but it's dangerous, all right? But it's definitely faster moving around. So when you fly, you don't want to fly in the open across the street. You want to fly, for example, behind a hard cover like this, or you want to fly, throw out some build, and then build while you're flying. So see that? So now I moved across the street really fast, and I threw out build, and now I'm a lot safer than just ground walking. Look how slow this is. Across the street in the open. It was like 8 seconds, right? Something ridiculous. So know that it's very important to build for protection when you're flying in the open, all right? So we have the one-hand climb. Now the fastest actual way to climb is use two hands. So you go one hand down, two hand down, three hand down, and you're kind of doing the same thing. On the Quest 2, you can keep your elbows in, and you're pretty much doing the T-Rex kind of style, all right? You go 1, 2, and you go like that, and you'll be really fast on the Quest 2. A lot easier than on the Valve Index when I'm on, all right? The problem is, if you have a weapon out, you can't do that, right? You can't grab the wall. So what you're going to want to do is, before you get to a wall, you switch out, and then you climb, okay? And then you switch back to your weapon, all right? Again, you have your weapon, switch out, climb as fast as you can, and then back weapon out, all right? And that's how you climb as fast as possible. Just know that, but you know, sometimes it's easier to do one hand because you need to make sure no one's, you're ready to react and fight, right? But most of the time, if I know that I'm safe, usually I switch out. I'm climbing with two hands because it's faster and it's less strain on your left shoulder, okay? So that's the two best ways to climb. Again, one-handed, all right? And just do that faster. And then two-handed, you're kind of just waiting until you kind of stop moving from each climb to throw yourself up. All right. Now, we'll do the build and fly one again, right? Because this one's so important. Again, you do not fly across the street in the open. So pre-build, spam your build button, all right, while you're flying, all right, to set up build. That move is so important. So I never want to see you, if you've watched this video, I never want to see you just ground walking across the street, okay? So for example, if I need to make it across that street, what am I going to do? I'm going to, it's a little harder in here because when I do a build over another build, it breaks, but it doesn't do that in the game, the actual game. You can just keep spamming the button, right? So see how much safer that was, right? If you look from this angle over here, you note that like I covered a lot of like view, right? It makes it a lot safer for me to cross the street. Now, if you don't have build, for example, you don't walk across the street. You come over here, you use the hard cover. So you come over here, you shoot at your enemy, you climb up, and now I'm still behind a hard cover. This hard cover cannot break, right? So I'm here. Now I'm looking down on my enemies, and I'm safely crossing the street. Now I can fly here, use the edge. Now I cross the street a more safer way, right? Than like ground walking across the open. Utilize your hard cover. Know where you can move. Okay, so I go, okay, I'm not really safe here. I drop down on this side, I hold on so I'm protected from there. You're always working the hard cover, right? And peeking and working the hard cover, right? And I'll teach you how to peek, right? So this is how you move, right? Always, honestly, pros usually never touch the floor because, like I said, ground walking is slower, so we fly everywhere, okay? And this is what I'm saying about about why it's so important to know how to climb and fly, all right? But we're gonna get into the more advanced tactics on flying, okay? So you know how to climb, but to fly, all you gotta do is spread out your hands, right? Hopefully you've gone through the tutorial and know that. But there's actual like pro ways to fly, okay? So when you fly, like if I want to fly down this wall right here, the fastest way is not to throw up and like that. It's efficient in terms of I only have to like grab the wall once. But what happens if I do this? I'm so exposed from that side of the map, right? So if I'm like this, I'm gonna die because like I said, you can die within a second. I don't want to be exposed like that. So what am I going to do? The actual fastest way to fly down there and safest is to throw forward and back. Here, let me get a good view. Forward, backwards like that. You see that? So I actually took my arm and went straight back that way. So that way, I'm flying. And sometimes you can ride the edges. Look how much safer that was, right? And sometimes I even do two hands. But for now, the one hand. Okay, this is really advanced actually. So you can grab, throw, all right? And you can do that multiple times. Grab, throw, keep going. Don't go up too high. Like over the wall. You don't want the enemy over there to see you, right? If the enemy's over there, you don't want him to see you. So throw, throw, one hand, right? Now what I actually do is the two hand because it feels to be the most efficient for me. So I go, it's actually harder for me to do on that side. Much easier to do on this side. You see that? Look how fast. It's two taps. Grab, grab. And I'm moving like a straight line. Grab, grab. Grab, grab. Grab, grab. Grab, grab. Right? And that's how you move across the wall in a straight, nice, efficient line. Okay, very advanced flying tactics, but you should practice this, right? Flying along the wall. Very important because the faster you are, the better you are at getting away from a fight. So if your team died and you have to run away, well, if you don't know how to move as fast as I do, you're not going to outrun me and you are going to die because I'm going to catch up to you, right? So fast players, that's why the best players in the world are always really fast usually because they know how they can get out of a fight and they can always get the person who's running away if they're faster than that person, right? Your flight tactics are very important. So practice both of those. The one hand on the wall, throwing yourself while flying, moving, as well as the two hand, and get used to that. Okay, very important. So what I usually do before I warm up in a competition game is I'll just fly around here, just practicing my movement. I'll just go. I'm just getting used to it. Switch directions. All right. Get used to your movement. Pop out. Reload, moving, right? Your movement so important in this game. And these are really important tips we're going to end with. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to peek so that you can fly around and peek, and now you're doing a serious pro play style. Peeking is how Big Box wants you to play, the developers want you to play this game because of how dangerous it is to be exposed out here doing this game, okay? In a serious game, you'll never see me stand toe-to-toe with someone who's like right here and me right here, and me just sit here and aim them, unless I'm pretty confident I'm gonna win that fight, all right? So what do you usually do? Listen to me very closely. At all times when you're fighting, ideally you should be peeking. This is a peek, okay? I'm holding my gun over. I barely see my target. Let's put up a target. I barely see my target. And I'm firing with one hand, shooting at my target, right? While I'm barely exposed, all right? You probably won't see my gun and the tip of my head here, right? So that I'm very small target. If they're looking at me, I'm a very small target. But I'm outputting the same amount of damage as I would normally, right? See how steady I can keep doing, and that's why you have to learn how to shoot the guns with one hand. Watch my masterclass for this, right? So peeking is holding something. Usually it's better if you do hard cover, not soft cover, because soft cover breaks so quick. Look how fast soft cover breaks. And the problem is if you are behind soft cover and it breaks, drop down like that, and usually you can die in that drop down. That's how fast you die in this game. Now, we're going to teach you how to switch weapons and switch weapons quickly by organizing your inventory. I didn't do this for like a year and a half, or no, 2 years, or like a year. I didn't do this for like a year, but I so regret not doing it earlier. My good friend at the time, Radfox, she forced me to do it. I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And it made such a difference in your play style because you can switch between weapons really quick and use them differently for different situations that you'll have to react to quickly. Because this game, all these weapons now have niches, but very quickly I keep my close range weapon in this right slot, I keep my mid range weapon in the second slot right here, and I keep my long range weapon in the top one, so that I can quickly, by just flicking and pressing the weapon switch button, so I press the weapons button, and if you hold it the wheel comes up. I just press it and I flick it, and you can put your weapon away by just pressing the button, right? But I can flick it to my different ranged weapons very easily there, right? So on the Toronto dot at the, you know, very quickly I can just go boom, switch to this, and all right, so important. It's worth doing, like, taking the 5-10 seconds out of your game when things are going on to organize. All right, so how to drop your weapons: you can just hold down your grip button while you have this selected. And then I'm going to try and pick them up in order. Oops. And then the second way you can do it is you go down, you hold your weapon switch button, go down to your backpack, and drop them like that, which is certainly faster. Alright. But for example, this is not in the loadout, so in a game I actually do this. Literally. I'll do this before I get into a fight. Now, this game is a team game. When you die, you can be revived, thank God, right? Now, because you can die so fast. So, to res, the fastest way to res is really big, fast circles, right? That is the fastest way to res. And is literally as fast as you see me do it right there, okay? That's how you can do it. Now, honestly, if you just, like, hold your battles, it charges, but it goes really slow. And if you go slow, it doesn't help that much. But if you speed it up fast, you can see the difference there, right? So big, fast circles, right? That one's so important. I can't tell you how many times even today I saw newer players, like one like this, and it was just taking like an hour to res me, and if they got me sooner, we would have won the fight. I've taught you how to set up your settings to play like a pro. I taught you how to first get used to the weapons. Start playing with bots just to get familiarized with how the game works. Then start playing deathmatch, and then when you're feeling good, jump into some squads before you get too high level, like level 8 or level 10, so you can play with people at your skill level before you start getting paired up against pros or like level 60 plus. All right, so that's how you should go. You've learned how to move efficiently. Watch my other videos for how to learn the weapons and become pro with them. We always have tips on this channel. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Good luck out there. Leave any questions you have in the comments. Like and subscribe, all that goodness.